Hey guys, it's Amalia, and today I figured I'd show you how I organize myself in seminary. Obviously, every dorm room is different, but I think ever since my Marie Kondo video, link in the description, I've gotten a lot better at organizing and thinking very consciously about like where things go and how to store all my stuff. I also have a major I brought a lot of clothing, and I cook a lot of my own food, even though they provide us food here. So I figure I'll show you how to do it in case you're going to live a dorm room life too. So my first creative solution regards where you hang your towel. So our bathroom does not have hooks, and I had command hooks, and I was debating, do I hang my towel in the bathroom? Do I hang my towel in the room? And I realized it was a lot more convenient for me to hang it specifically like in my own area within the room, because one, it just like ensures it's always clean. There's no mistakes with someone else using your towel, getting confused between their towel and yours. And so I have it neatly on the door of my own cabinet. So before we open up the cabinet, let me just show you my other storage area over here, because we have the cabinet, and then we have this area with this set of drawers that I bought. Pretty much the first drawer I can show you, I can give a tour. The first drawer is tech supplies. Under that is like delicates that I won't show you. Then we have then on bottom we have like socks, tights, things like that. And that's pretty much what's kept in there. It's also things like I usually get up the earliest, so I realized those were the things I thought about what I need to keep next to my bed in order for me to be able to use it the most efficiently, like as I'm getting up, because those are things I might not take out the night before as I'm picking my outfit, but I will need them when I'm getting dressed the next morning. And so I'll usually keep them next to my bed. My bed right now is not made because I was washing my sheets. So next, the final area of storage I have is my underbed storage, which isn't really underbed storage as much as just a place to shove things. But I'll give you a tour of how I do that. Also, notably, my roommates for the most part are Israeli. And don't live in our dorm full time. Therefore, it's like less inconvenient for them. We usually take up more of the underbed storage space and things like that. I recognize that not every person in seminary would have that. Okay, so now let's do a tour of my closet. Okay, so I guess we'll just go through the levels and explain what goes on each one. So this top layer I call my dress area, as well as my stained clothing that I don't know how to get out the stain area. If you know how to get a stain out of an item such as this, please link in the comments. I spilled oil on it while making soup. So that's mainly what's up there. Anything that is a lot of my fancier dresses that don't need to be that don't need to be hung, go up there. It's not necessarily the most folded. Because it's also less items, so I know what's up here, and it's a little easier to get out. So it's a little easier to leave messy because I know exactly what's up there because it's less items. And I think that's a big tip. The things that go on top should not be your daily use things, and you should also know which things you're consciously putting on top. This way, let's say first, if you put it's winter and you leave your sweaters on the top shelf, so it's bound to get messy because you're using them frequently, and it's also just more inconvenient for you. And you should also just know what's up there so nothing gets lost in the back. And then that actually brings me to my next point, which is my deep shelves. So as you see, my shelf, it goes back rather far. And it creates somewhat of a challenge because I do have enough clothes to go in those areas, but it's definitely hard to have access to as well as to know what's there. So I've gone through many different systems. First, it was summer clothing in the front, winter clothing in the back, and various different variations on that. And I finally settled on something similar to what I do at home, just because I always ended up having it as a mess no matter what I did, regarding a system that's based on the type of clothing. And so instead I divided up within all my shirts. I divided it I divided up a color-coded system. This way I at least have some idea of like what I'm looking in a pile for. And it's also harder to mess up unintentionally. So as we see, I have my purple shirts, my green shirts are in the back of that. My blue shirts are all the way back there, my pink, red, black, you can't even see, white and brown, and brownish like orange. And the reason I do it like this is simply because otherwise I don't think I could really know specifically where everything was. And even though it's like slightly like perhaps there's a better system regarding if I put my summer clothes back and moved my winter clothes forward, one, it's not necessarily always so true that I don't need my summer clothing because I can sometimes layer it and use it in the winter as well. And I tried it many different ways, and I've just found this works best for me because it also just allows it to look neat. It allows me to know when things are not in the right place and put it in the proper place much more easily, as opposed to reassessing every time. And it's just a very clear system. That's the key for me. This next shelf is my skirts, which granted I don't keep that organized, but there's definitely reason behind it. One is because within like my shirts are probably the item I own the most of. Skirts I own less. And I also usually reach for my shirt before my skirt, so I know what I'm looking for when I go into my skirts. So I think that's a major key, like knowing the system you have in terms of how you get dressed, and then being able to organize based on that. So my skirts, it's 2 main piles, and then there's more in the back. I also have like different fabrics, so I usually just feel around. I also put it on a lower shelf, notably, because I usually go by texture when picking out my skirt, more so than these shelves for shirt, where I usually go by color and then base the skirt off of that. And then finally this bottom shelf. So this is just a sweater that I wear every day, so I pull it out. This shelf over here is my accessory shelf as well as my label maker. So over here I have like 2 outer sweaters. So these are my outerwear sweaters. And then beyond that I have a box of like my various scarves and masks of all different ranges and colors, as well as like any extra pairs of gloves, hats, things like that, because they don't need like full access, but I like the ability that I can just move something off the shelf and it can be pulled out. Finally, we have my bottom shelf. This was really not like scripted, filtered. So finally we have my bottom shelf, which I consider my messier shelf. But I also like think it's, but I'm really fine with it. Just practically, the way it works is it's mainly more jackets that I don't use on the daily, but like I like having out accessible. As well as my pajamas are down here, and I don't like, when I need pajamas, I usually am able to find them rather easily. So because I also don't particularly care, with pajamas, I don't particularly care regarding like which I pick and making a set. Therefore, I feel more comfortable putting them on the shelf with the thing I know will get most messy because I don't fold jackets as well. And just being able to pull them out is not a hard process, so I don't mind them being there. And I think that was also a really good conscious decision to make. What things don't I mind being messy? I also don't mind them getting wrinkly, so I can just shove them in. And then finally, we have a top over here, another major resource for my storage. This is an additional cabinet where I store bags, out of season coats, or honestly, that coat's not out of season. I should probably take it down and start wearing it. Out of season coats, my anything that's like bigger. This could all stuff that could also go under the bed, but it also just made sense to put it up here. So some extra bags, and a sleeping bag, etc. And that's what's kept up there. Moving on to my underbed area. Simple. I have my more major bag storage, such as my carry-on. Inside my carry-on, I think this is a good life hack. I store any shoes that I don't use frequently. Right now, that's actually not so many shoes. It's just my sneakers because I don't run. I don't run anymore, which isn't good, but that's also part of the STEM life. So I store any like random things that I don't use frequently are typically stored in here. I also have my water shoes I'm feeling are in here. And that's primarily what's kept in there. Next, in this Ziploc storage cube I bought from home specifically for the purpose of putting under my bed, which I'm really happy I did. I have all my extra linens, as well as extra towels, and things of that nature. Beyond, this is like my most ridiculous storage cube, but it's plastic bags, extra Ziplocs, extra laundry bags. I have like 3 laundry bags for no reason, stuff like that. And then beyond that, I just have my a backpack. Like I have a few more backpacks that didn't fit up there, or I found more convenient to leave down here. So just my mom purse is in here as well as my JanSport is in there. And that's pretty much what's kept down there. Regarding a nightside table, so this is not the most organized thing by any means, but I prefer to keep my my hair pieces because I change them pretty much daily. I keep them in a box over here, and I kind of just dig around to find what I want. At home, that probably would be a more clear system for how to do that, but for here, I think that works really well. I also pick out my outfit for the next day. This is a shirt I'll wear tomorrow, probably with the same skirt. That's why there's no skirt picked out, as well as my hair piece for tomorrow. I have that all picked out and over here, and just my retainer, things like that. I also usually will have these books on here. That's my journal, and that's a book I'm reading right now. Also notably have just an area on this bookshelf that's mine. This is my shelf, and pretty much I use that. I also will sometimes, depending on what mood I'm in, I'll either pick out my outfit on that shelf or below there. Finally, we come to my closet storage, and this is definitely an area where my room does not excel. We all have a lot of hanging clothing, and we haven't come up with a solution for it yet. Mainly my my clothing's usually on that side, and mainly the solution is just that my dress that's over here gets banged in. It gets a bit of a crease along the sleeve. My storage primarily under here, but I think that's also a very efficient storage place. Where we keep things that we don't use as often. There's a steamer down there, etc. And that's pretty much how that's organized. Are all kept along this shelf, aside from the ones that I keep under the bed. Okay, so moving beyond clothing, we now come to my set of kitchen pantry. So obviously every kitchen and every room has to divide up their stuff differently. Like I said, my roommates are mainly Israeli, and I think there's an understanding that like this is more of my house. And so me as well as my roommate, who my other like American roommate, we both have more pantry storage than other roommates. But this is how we keep it regardless. So when, like as I said, this is like pretty much unscripted. I didn't like organize this before, but I'll just show you how I have it. It's definitely not perfect, but I'm working with limited space, so you do what you can. So I cook a lot, like I said, but I also, in terms of snack food, I like to call this my bird food area. This is mainly nuts, chia seeds, like apple chips, all my like healthy snacks. Next to that, I just keep anything that doesn't fit in there. I have some dried mango. Then over here, I didn't have a standing shelf. So these are bottles of oil. This one's open, this one's not, but I was out shopping, so I got another bottle of oil. Here's my honey for my tea box that we'll get to in a minute. And then we also keep another condiment because this is where I had space for it. So we have some lemon juice. Okay, over here, so next we have this, we have my tea section. So we have this lovely glass cup. We have other mugs that the room shares, but personally, I'm like particularly into this mug to the extent that I even just label makered it. It was my cup like when we came in. So like it's still my cup and I use it pretty often. Next to it, we have this lovely, I'm just gonna turn that around because it does in fact have my last name on it. Okay. Next we have my lovely tea strainer that originally actually came with like a tea bottle that I'll show you over here. So that originally came with a tea bottle, but I use it as my main tea strainer while in seminary because I try to not have too many like things that I don't need. So I'm one person and I just have one tea strainer. Okay, in here we just have an assortment of teas. I kind of like all my tea flavors, and typically it doesn't bother me like which flavor I take for a day. So I just kind of put all my boxes here because it saves space, and I just pull one out. Also, when I do want a specific tea, just digging around is not really that hard. And for me, that system makes the most sense. Interestingly, this happens to be that this particular box of tea I don't really like. So I opted to not put that one in, and I give that's more for company. And then next to here, so this is like mainly like a tea section, I'd say. Next to that we have my bag of tea leaves. So it's all my different forms of leaves that I keep around. I don't use them on a daily basis the way I do at home, because it's just a little more inconveniencing for me to wash out my strainer, and it takes a little longer in the morning, and I'm usually running out of here more so than I am at home. So that's usually how it works. Okay, so I just went on a shopping run, so like I still have doubles of some things because I have to finish this up, but I'll finish it up in a few days. We have peanut butter, granola bars. Back here is my solution for my I have like 2 vegetarian roommates, so we don't really make meat, and just to keep things like safe, like all of my I have like a meat knife, a meat sponge, and that's about it, and they're all kept in this back area. So those are just like not used so frequently, and I keep them there. This shelf is more like snack food. So we have cookies, cereal, and pretzels, as well as rice cakes. Here are some dates. Some things are just like how they fit in. I also have some applesauces that I really like, as well as this is my candy box. And that's pretty much like these 2 shelves are things I use like overall on a daily basis. I think the best tip for these shelves were one, like storage boxes. These are probably not the best storage boxes for something like this, but I had extras from my clothing storage, like within my sock drawers and etc. And then I think this was a really smart idea. I moved my stuff from bags. I didn't have like fancy containers the way I would have at home, but I did have these salad like clamshells, and so I just use those to store, like when I get pretzels, I'll have a big bag of pretzels or cereal, etc., and I'll keep them in these because they're much more readily stackable, and therefore like just take up less space in a neater way. Finally, getting to my top shelf of my closet. So this shelf is all really storage needs. That's why I keep it in baskets. It's anything I don't use on a daily basis, and like a lot of it's like cooking supplies. This basket is primarily like junk food that I'll take out on Shoppers sometimes, and that's more for company. And then this basket is primarily things I cook with. Don't judge the marshmallows coming out the top because I'm going to make Rice Krispie treats. And basically anything that's like excess or extra. So I have like multiple of the apple chips that I keep an open one of down here. So it just made more sense to keep them up there. And so that's like more of my storage pantry area. Obviously you have to keep it small and limited, but that's pretty much how I do it. And definitely you have to consciously move things around every now and again. Usually when I go grocery shopping, I reorganize the cabinet just because like I don't have so much space to have a really clear set system. And that's how I organize my food and pantry area. This shelf is stuff that overall like my room shares. So it's definitely not the most organized. These things need to come down in order for the spices to come out for cooking. But we have a bin full of our various spices, and you just pull it out when you need to cook. And yeah, pretty much everything else is like, okay, so we share like plates and dishes, things like that. But everything else is like other people's cabinets. Getting to the last place of my storage within the seminary is my bathroom and toiletry storage, which I definitely don't feel like I have mastered, but I'll show you what I do have. So one, I think like the biggest solution and best thing for me was these types of toothbrushes. Some people don't like them because they think they get moldy easier, but personally, I think you just clean it out enough, and it's fine. So I don't even keep it like in a holder and anything. It just opens up as your toothbrush, and you're good. So I keep those there. Pretty much anything I use on a daily basis is out on the sink, as well as everyone else's stuff. And then under here is way more long-term, my more long-term storage. So we have like all of these are like nail polishes and shampoos, etc. This is my toiletry case. Again, more like storage of things that I don't need immediately. I'm mainly the only person, because I'm one of two Americans, like we're the main ones who would store anything down there. That's storage purposes. Everyone else mainly just brings things from home. And that's pretty much where I keep all my bathroom storage, aside from my shampoos and conditioners, and like shower products, which are pretty much just kept on the floor over there next to the shower. Nothing fancy. And that's pretty much like what made sense and how it works out. So that's pretty much all my storage solutions, storage areas. I know it looks like a mess, but my system, I think it actually is a lot better than a lot of systems other people have, low-key. Okay, so thank you for watching, and like and subscribe. Tell me what systems you like, what things are smart, which things are idiotic. Like my box of teas that like you have to like search through. And just let me know. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.